Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated, where today I'm joined by actress, filmmaker, producer, casting director, Rebecca Lamarche. So, welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you. Thank you again so much for having me.
Yeah, no, this is terrific. I'm so excited to talk to you. That's a lot of different roles that you have played within the entertainment industry.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a couple of handfuls, but I really find they complement each other well, and they
Yeah.
really feed into each other. So it's a good handful for me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So let's start. Let's start here. Tell me about what got you into the entertainment business, or what made you want to join the entertainment business.
It wasn't at first like a career plan. I was drawn to
Right.
acting. I loved acting, but I was also really interested in so many other facets growing up, whether it be science or
Yeah.
journalism. So I went to university for acting and for journalism. I did a combined honors degree. I worked in journalism for a bit, freelancing mostly. I
Yeah.
worked as an actor, and I realized that the toolkit I had developed with journalism really translated well to filmmaking.
Right.
And they're both telling stories. I had done a little bit of documentary in school. So I just started adapting the toolkit I had already made to start getting into filmmaking.
Yeah. That actually makes sense. I would assume that they would be similar skills between the two.
Yeah, I mean, even in a funny way, as an actor, you're looking at what's the story, what's the heart of the story, what's driving people. They're
Right.
just it's so many overlapping skills because you're just analyzing humanity. So
Right.
yeah, so I found that it really my interests have always been very the same. It's very people driven and just
Yeah.
connecting through stories and it evolved that way.
Yeah, that's terrific. So, when you were growing up in school, were you involved in theater or acting class, band, anything like that?
I always grew up with music
Yeah.
and lots of physical extracurriculars. So for music, I played violin since I think I was four. Um,
Wow.
my parents did private lessons, and then we did group orchestra. In high school, I took violin as an actual course in our high school. And then midway through high school, I'd always done lots of sports. I hurt my back, nothing serious, but I was just taking a break
Right.
from sports. And I decided to audition for a play, take some theater classes, and just discovered this great love for acting. And even then, I wasn't sure it would be a career, but just kept exploring it and investing in it, and decided to do it in university, audition for
Right.
university, but also did the journalism at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm kind of amazed that you had a violin class in high school.
Our high school, it's I love the public education system in Canada. It's so good. I went to public school, grew up
Yeah.
speaking French in public school, taking violin in public school. You could take all these specialty classes, no matter what your interest was. And yeah, I think it's really a testament to how good parts of our system are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty impressive. So, if I could speak French, which I can't, could we do this interview in French?
We could, but I would be speaking a little slower and maybe like thinking a little bit more about my word
Okay.
choices.
But yeah, but you're pretty fluent. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
actually, the in 2019, so back when we could travel, I shot a film in France, and I got to go as one of the producers
Oh,
because I was one of
nice.
the only people who spoke French for the team.
Yeah, that's what a terrible job that you have to tag along to.
Yeah, it's great.
So I was looking over your uh, uh, resume, and you have done all of the Christmas movies.
Yes,
I,
all of them.
yeah, my oldest, the day after Thanksgiving, she starts watching the Christmas movies, and she doesn't stop until after Christmas. So I'm sure she's seen you in a ton of stuff, but they're legit. There's like a dozen or so.
I know. Well, she's our people. So thank you to your daughter for keeping us in business.
How did you get into that side of entertainment?
So that side of entertainment, what's really interesting is one, in Canada, we make a ton of these movies. So part of
Yeah,
it is geography. As an actor, there's a ton of opportunity in this genre in this country. And as a filmmaker, the studio I work for, we really got into this niche.
right.
We used to work in kids and family. We started veering into romance, and it's really just kind of been the part of the industry that's chosen us. And it's just a beautiful genre to work in. You're
Yeah,
working with happy people every day. You're exploring, subject matter that even though it's light, it's going to be an escape and bring people joy.
that's
So
right.
yeah, you try to keep that in mind and think about how you can serve your audience and how you can make their day better. What would be more fun for them to see, fun for them to watch. It's a really uplifting genre to work in.
From what I understand, it's fairly challenging as well because the shoots are very fast. Is that right?
It's absurdly fast. Where I work, we do it very quickly. When I'm producing, we typically do it in 14 or 15 days.
That's
Fit
pretty
for a
fast.
print. Yeah, it's really fast for a full movie. Like your final cut is at least 90 minutes. So you're shooting a lot, and for Fit for a Prince, the Hallmark movie I was acting in that comes out this Saturday,
Yeah.
we shot it in 12 days.
Holy cow.
And my hat is off to those filmmakers because we shot it in 12 days, which is crazy, and it felt very seamless. They did such a great job of running that shoot.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So what's the name of the movie coming out Saturday?
It's called Fit for a Prince, and it comes out for Hallmark.
Okay. All right. So what that sounds very Hallmark.
Yeah.
What is your role in that movie?
So my character is Brooke Hamilton, and she's kind of this privileged American socialite, almost like American royalty. And her family is hosting the prince for this charity ball.
Yeah.
And the lead actress, Natalie Hall, she plays Cindy. She's a designer, and she's studying under this designer, but secretly is doing the designs. And they get to dress this very wealthy family and the prince for this ball.
Oh,
And
nice.
and so it's a really fun one, but what's so cool is the production value for it is fantastic. I mean, it's about fashion, so
Yeah.
all our outfits are amazing. And my house in this movie, because they're playing on this big manor, it's shot in Ottawa's iconic Chateau Laurier. It's
Ooh, nice.
this huge like fortress of a hotel in Ottawa. And they transformed it into my home, and it was just gorgeous.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that sounds like a movie that could be a Christmas movie. I know it's not, but it seems like that would be an easy fit for a Christmas movie if you wanted one.
Oh, definitely. It's the same feel, and I guess a common thread for these movies, these TV movies, where romance is at the forefront, whether it be
Yeah.
Christmas or not, is it's the unremarkable that's so remarkable, and it makes everyday people, all of us, be able to watch it and just feel remarkable in those moments with people.
Yeah, I think that's great, and it's especially over the last year. Don't you feel like people need that type of comfort type of movie? Just the feel good. At the end of it, it's going to end positive. And it's very comfortable watching that. And I feel like, especially the last year, those are the type of movies everybody's looking for.
Oh, I so agree with you, and I think that now they have a new element to them. It's nostalgia.
Right.
You're watching, families come together and just be together, or friends get together, even bar scenes. It's
Right.
funny. It brings nostalgia now, and once again, it's things that are seemingly unremarkable, and right now they're remarkable.
Yeah, that's a really good point because this last year. I mean, we kind of took all that for granted, but we don't do that anymore. So I completely agree with that. How
Yeah.
did that go with such a quick shoot? What kind of precautions did you guys take? Going into it?
It was huge. So this team, they did a really good job. They made sure every single person was tested before coming
Yeah.
to set. We did temperature checks every day. Our medics also had forms. They did the self-check every single day. They
Yeah.
would go around sanitizing everything. Anytime I got out of my chair, I'd see someone run over and re-sanitize it. I'm not even exaggerating. Doorknobs, everything. When we were in acting, we could have the visors or our masks, but the whole crew always had their masks on.
Right.
Our meals were pre-packaged. Normally on set, you have these open buffets.
Right.
And so all our meals are pre-packaged. You know, they're ordered and catered beforehand. So there's so many aspects of filmmaking that just had to completely be turned on their head. But this team did a fantastic job making it safe for everyone.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And I'm assuming that everybody was so happy to get back to work that even with restrictions, you're just glad to be there.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone I talked to there and on any of the projects, I did a lot of projects last year. Everyone was just really happy to be working and happy to be working in an environment they could actually feel safe in.
Yeah. Yeah. I spoke with a couple of actors that work in Australia. And in Australia, they actually have a COVID supervisor assigned to every set, somebody that's actually there to make sure that everybody is being, as safe as possible. Do they do anything like that in Canada?
Yeah, so I think it's a new industry standard that's starting. It's a COVID compliance officer.
Yeah.
And I think it's an important new role that's been developed. And what's so funny is they just made intimacy coordinators in the industry, a new position. And now I feel like for the foreseeable future, there's going to be these COVID compliance officers. It's all these new positions that are so important.
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost boring, but it's also the cutting edge of film. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anytime you're creating new positions, that's kind of exciting. You give, people a different avenue, a career path. That's pretty interesting. It'll be interesting to see what that leads to over time.
Yeah. Definitely. And I mean, some aspects of film I think are going to be changed forever from this in the positive. I mean, you'll see hand washing stations set up everywhere now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you might be scrounging for hand sanitizer, right?
That's exactly right. So you've done some casting. What got you into that side of it? Because I think that's a really interesting side and underappreciated. Because anytime you have watched something where the casting just doesn't, it doesn't quite feel right, or the chemistry between actors isn't quite right, you realize that a casting director is pretty important.
Yeah, well, casting is one of my favorite parts of filmmaking, like right after acting, I would say. So I love casting. I actually cast quite a lot. I've cast 2 series and probably 15 movies. And for casting, it was a natural progression. Again, I work full-time for a studio here in Canada on the filmmaking side, and I work very closely with the CEO and owner of the company. And we found ourselves, we would often be working together with casting. And so I created pretty much this internal position for myself, where now I oversee all the casting for every single project
Nice.
that touches. Yeah, so I'll break down all the scripts. We'll kind of do meetings to see our vision for the project. I'm starting to get into packaging, where we go out to our stars ahead of time and really package the kind of film we want to sell, attach stars, and then cast the rest of it. So it's a really creative and rewarding side, because on the acting side, you're always hoping someone sees the potential in you. And for casting, I get to be that person who can really root and cheer for and champion the people I believe in.
Yeah, I love that. How do you, keep yourself from just casting yourself every movie?
Yeah, it's just different hats, right? It's just different hats. You can't do that. There might be the odd right fit,
right?
But you have to approach it as different projects. And something that I think's been very rewarding for me, but also very strategic plan, is to approach the different aspects of filmmaking right now very separately. And in the future, I really do want to combine them and produce the projects I want to act in and cast them, but I really want to establish myself in each field first. So it's not someone haphazardly doing everything. I'm really specializing in each part of filmmaking.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to do it. So you're learning as you go, but you're kind of adding at your own pace, so you can kind of control, how much you're dealing with at one time. I like that.
Exactly, and I think it's these positions, they're specialist positions, and
Right.
they can be full-time positions in their own right. So you really have to respect the job and give your all to each job, and not kind of spread yourself too thin, or you don't grow.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's exactly right. So you got became involved with this filmmaking company. How did that come about? What made you want to kind of get into to that side of it?
So I had started considering approaching this side of the business. I was going to go to school for a postgraduate degree in filmmaking.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, okay, well, I got into this really cool postgraduate degree, but it's like 6 months away. I might as well see what kind of work I can get in the
Why
industry
not?
and start learning. So I started reaching out to places or people I might know through acting, and nothing had come of it just yet. And I got a random phone call, and I had been referred to another producer, and the producer at the time was just looking for an assistant production coordinator on one
Yeah.
movie. And so I came on, I did that job, spent every night after work researching the things I should know to do the job. And
Right.
and then after that movie, I thought, I think I can learn more by working than going to this program. So I decided not to do the program and just started freelancing. And I
Yeah.
approached this company and pretty much just asked to be hired full time and made a position for myself. And it worked out great.
I for some reason I don't see that ever working for me. I can't see me going into a company and saying, "I'm what you need, and here's the position you need me for."
I feel like I can do this for you really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
It
good for
worked out
you.
great.
Yeah, that's really great. And you gotta love those random phone calls that come in and kind of send you down a completely different path. That's great.
Yeah, I was so lucky. So it's
Yeah,
great.
that's really great. So did that lead to you being involved on the production side?
Yes, that was exclusively the production side, and that's how I
Right.
started working on production, freelancing a bit outside of it, but but now I work full time for this company, and in development, on production and packaging. It's been great.
Yeah, that's really terrific. So how do you go about finding the product or the projects that you want to be involved with?
So for our company, we develop the projects. We might work with our buyers, see what they want. They might have a
Yeah.
project that we'll take on, but always pitching. I'm not a part of the executive production team that goes to the buyers and sees what they want, but I do
Right.
help develop them once we have it. That's something I'm starting to edge my way into, and definitely where I
Yeah.
want to start getting more involved and working with the numbers, finding the people, see what people want and find the buyers and develop it. It's definitely where I want to start moving.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. So your company is actually going and asking the buyers what kind of project they want, and then you go and seek out this project, or you just make it yourself.
So our executive producers will have kind of a development slate of projects they
Right.
either have commissioned that are written or are in development or concepts, and they'll pitch them to the buyers. And
Okay. Okay.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
different networks will then choose which projects they want to
They would
greenlight,
be
which
interested in.
projects they want to buy, and we'll develop them from there.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Do you ever run into to projects that you're really passionate about, but you can't find a buyer for? And if you do, what do you do with those?
Yeah, I think that happens all the time. We have
Yeah.
a project that we've been trying to make for years. I packaged earlier or later last year. We got a star attached and we started pitching it to different buyers. People were very interested. And then now one of the major streaming platforms is doing this same concept, not taken from us, but there's always versions of the same concept
Right.
as a show. So our movie is now on hold because a major streaming platform is doing the same project, but as a series. You know, you just kind of have to roll with what's out there and see what people want and keep developing. And if you believe in it, you keep chasing it.
Yeah, that's pretty great. So do you help put together the deck for the pitch, or do you get involved kind of after it's set up, once you start into the actual production?
For some of the projects that we're pitching, I'll be involved on the casting front if I'm attaching people beforehand, or even just with the vision of how we want to make it. I'll help with that. We have a series called The Wedding Planners, where I was very involved with the pitching process. I got to go to our network for the pitch, and just you make a presentation of what your vision is and if you can jive and if it's going to work. But typically I come involved after, and once again, that's the transition I'm getting more involved to at our studio.
That's actually really interesting. That's a lot of hats that you're wearing. So do you have any desire to direct or to write?
It's a great question. I don't for directing, and it's so funny because my dad used to always send me these directing job postings. Like, you should be a director. You're a director. I was like, I'm not a director. The producer and the director's not the same job.
No, right.
And it was so funny because when I said to him, he's like, well, what's the difference? I was like, well, the producer's the business person on set that makes the whole project go. Right. And the director is another artist. I'm enough of an artist as an actor. I don't want to add another artist to my juggling. And then when I put it like that, he's like, oh yes, the business person. That's great. Stay with that one. So directing, I don't think so. Writing, I think eventually, but not now. I love writing. With journalism, I have a background in writing, but I can't spread myself too thin.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking, because I know you had the journalist background, but I think that makes sense. So you're wearing a lot of different hats, but they're all different enough that you can kind of keep them separate. So that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's actually really really interesting. I'm very fascinated that you're able to do all this stuff and find the time to do it.
That's the biggest challenge. It's a very astute observation. When I'm on set producing, most of my auditions, I'll come home from set, I'll start putting on makeup, eating food, learning my lines. God bless my boyfriend. He'll tape with me at midnight, 1 a.m. I'm going through the takes. I'm editing it together. I'm sending it off. I'm looking at it as a casting director where I'd be happy to see this. Is it polished enough?
Right.
Send it off. Then I sleep for 3 hours, 4 hours, get up, drive to set. So the biggest thing for me was starting to limit the projects that I am on set producing.
Yeah.
Because those days are 14-hour days.
Well, you can't do that all the time.
You're driving back and forth. So I've limited the amount of projects that I work on set producing, and I still produce in other capacities, but I'm not on set every day. And that's really opened up my schedule to be able to balance all these hats I'm wearing.
Yeah. Well, and so you've got Fit for a Prince comes out this weekend, but you've got a couple other movies that you're working on as well.
Yes. So Fit for a Prince is out this weekend. My Boss's Wedding is another rom-com that comes out later this month on Super Channel here in Canada. Yeah. I'm not sure where it's going to end up in the States, but it'll definitely.
Well, it will eventually. We trade stuff back and forth all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And then I have my first thriller is Deadly Mom Retreat, and that's with MarVista. So we're waiting to see where that goes. That'll be released very soon.
So what is your role in that one? Are you the killer?
I might be. I don't know. I might not be, but I might be.
That was a loaded question.
My character is this hot yoga instructor, so she really shouldn't be, but she might be.
She might be. I don't know any other movie where the yoga instructor was the killer, so
So it could be
maybe.
a first,
Could be. It could be a
but it might
first.
not be a first.
Do you have a preference on a genre, or is there a genre that you haven't done that you'd like to do?
Yeah, I don't have a preference yet. Like it really just depends the character, the role, the team.
Right.
Every opportunity is usually very fun.
Yeah.
It's just such a fun thing to make a movie. But I really love period piece dramas. I would like
Oh,
to do
nice.
more of.
Yeah.
Fantasy I haven't done yet, and I love fantasy. So
Me too.
yeah.
Yeah, you got to do that.
That's it. And then action. Action, I am so determined to do action movies that I'm starting on my own time to learn all the special skills so that when the right audition comes along, I can
You're
pull up
ready.
this little special skills toolkit and be like, I can do this, 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 and this.
Well, so what are those special skills?
So the biggest one would be competition shooting.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it's a really different process here. You need a license to like even touch a gun pretty much in Canada. So my boyfriend and I, we got our license, we got our black badge, and we've started doing pistol competition shooting together, which is so fun. And so that's something definitely that I would say is in the action toolkit.
Yeah, that's definitely in the action toolkit. So are you any good at the competitive pistol shooting?
Yeah, I mean, if you compare me to an established shooter, no, I've only been doing it for a year, and competitive shooting for months, not even a year at that. But I put thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds downrange and at targets, and so now I'm really comfortable with it. And it's accuracy, speed, and power is what you're measured on. So you have to be really comfortable with your firearm, otherwise some serious accidents are going to happen.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I love the idea of taking the little bit of spare time that you have and using it for hobbies, but hobbies that actually will probably come into play with your main career.
Yeah, and it's turned in. At first, it was a professional goal, but I fell in love with the sport, and so now I love it, and it's an amazing hobby I share with my boyfriend, which is just so fun.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, we got into it together, so we're learning it together. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, so now you need that role where you're playing a journalist, but in an action movie, and then you'll have everything in the one movie.
I think you're writing it right now.
Yeah, I am. I could pitch this right now.
I'll buy it.
And she probably does yoga in her spare time.
She probably does.
Probably does. So have you had any like fight training, martial arts training, anything like that?
A little bit of boxing is something that I'm starting to train in. And I think when the weather gets nicer here, I'm going to start going and training outside quite a bit more.
Yeah. You got to have that for the action movies.
You got it.
I think we've got one we're ready to pitch right now.
I think so.
Yeah, just point me in the right direction. We'll make this.
Do you write them typically? Is this gonna be your first feature film that you're writing?
If you may not want to go down that road. We want this to be a good movie. I'm just the idea guy.
Okay, you're the idea guy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Love it.
I'm the what is it? The special thanks.
Perfect.
No, that's really good. So you've done the rom-coms. You want to get into action movies. Have you done horror?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I have done a little bit of horror, but again in 2020, I worked on Anything for Jackson, which was Yeah, so we did
Yeah.
we did really well in the festivals. It was a Shutter. It was on Shutter. It was
Yeah,
on.
I was going to say that one was on Shutter. I've seen some clips from that. It looks really good.
Thank you. So
Yeah.
I was basically the devil in that movie. Basically, her name is Van, but basically the devil. And I also worked as a consulting producer on that one. So
Did
that
you
was
cast yourself as the devil?
I guess. Like, I guess. No, I didn't cast myself. My friend, Justin G. Dyke, he's the director,
Yeah.
and Keith Cooper's the writer. They also produced it. And so I consulted with them. I helped with some of the casting. I helped with some of the other producing, aspects of
Yeah.
the job. And they offered me. They offered
Oh,
me.
that's awesome. That's kind of that's got some fantasy elements.
Oh, it was so much fun. I was in full prosthetics. So I was in, it was unlike anything I've
Well,
done
how long
before.
did that take to get into that?
8 hours.
Oh my gosh.
It
I
just in
couldn't do it.
makeup alone, 8 hours. And that doesn't include the appointments beforehand where we made molds of my face,
Yeah.
molds of the body. It was at least 8 hours of full processing and then acting.
Oh my gosh. Weren't you just exhausted by the time you got to the actual acting?
Not at all. It was so much fun. It made me discover a love for prosthetics. And
Yeah.
what they say for prosthetics are you can either do it or you can't, because a lot of people get panic attacks from it.
Yeah, I would get that way, I think, kind of claustrophobic.
It's very claustrophobic, and also you really like you need to plan your day because you can't just go to the washroom. Like you can't,
Right.
you need to be very careful. And my whole body was in prosthetics. And it's so funny because everyone told me there were like all these strategies for how I'd be able to go to the washroom. And I just knew that everyone, they really meant their best and they were all pros. They were like amazing, amazing filmmakers, but I just knew it wasn't going to work out. So I went in so mentally prepared. I had a big glass of water in the morning. I had a full tea, and then I didn't touch liquid for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I picked at my lunch, and then I think 12 hours in, I called it. I was like, I need to go to the washroom. So, but we had to reapply part of the costume afterwards because you're breaking out of this whole application.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So there's a little bit of cost involved in that too. If you have to take a lot of bathroom breaks and then reapply, you're losing time. There's some extra money. So yeah, I could. The producer and you was probably like, no, I'm just not going.
Well, you couldn't. I mean, this amazing team spent 8 hours making me. Like I couldn't. You know what I mean? I know what I'd be asking them. I just watched them work for 8 hours on one person. But that was so much fun. It was so freeing to work in prosthetics because you're not worried about camera angles or
right. Yeah.
That. And it was so different because your body is so different. It's how do you communicate? How do you move?
Right.
Like, do you know what's going on in the room by smelling? Maybe a demon does, does the demon see or do they feel? So it was
that's
really
pretty
fun.
interesting.
It was very fun to approach it really differently. And you couldn't practice because you get one shot at being put in the prosthetics. So preparing, I didn't know how I'd be able to move.
Right.
I just came up with ideas of how I could explore the world around me or interact and communicate with the world around me because I didn't know physically what would be possible until the cameras are rolling.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I like that. I like the behind the scenes stuff. That's really interesting. Did you get to? I know it has done well at some of the film festivals. With the last year? Probably not. But did you get to actually go to any of the festivals?
We couldn't go to any of the festivals. Yeah, and that was a bummer. We tried,
that's a shame.
Support the festivals, watch other people's films. We did the Q&As. And we were just so grateful that there was an audience willing to log on and watch people's work and enjoy the festival experience online. we're so grateful for that, but we couldn't go to any of the festivals.
Yeah, I mean, thank goodness for Zoom and some of these other ways we can connect. But that is a little disappointing because some of those larger film festivals, Sundance and some of those, I mean, they're a blast, to go and to network, and you see other people's creations, and then to see the reaction from the audience for what you've brought. I mean, that's just wonderful.
That's exactly it. And also, a lot of festivals were taking less films because, there's only so
Right.
many people want to watch online. Whereas if you're doing a full run of a festival, they sell bundle tickets and
That's
all
right.
that stuff. So it was interesting to see how everyone adapted.
Yeah, yeah, it's this whole COVID time that we're living in. It's changed everything, especially in the film industry, because I'm not sure what it's like in Canada, but here, you're not auditioning in person anymore. It's all remote.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And even though it's so nice to go in the room and, get some feedback, or they can change things or ask
right.
questions, I also love self-taping so much. It's been such a secret win for this whole
Well, wait, so do
experience.
you like it because you can do it over until you're satisfied with it? Is that the
Uh,
plus?
Great question. No. I think that would kill it because
Yeah,
you're going to be so wooden at that point.
right,
You'll lose what's fresh or what feels lifelike with it. But I love the flexibility with it.
right.
When you have time to do your best at it. I also like that it's a controlled environment. We're actually sitting, if I were to rotate, we're sitting in what would be my self-tape studio at home.
Yeah,
So I have my whole setup. I know how I like it lit. I know how it's gonna look, how it's gonna sound.
right.
My boyfriend's my reader. God bless him again.
Well, he does a lot of things.
He's amazing. So and pre-COVID, if it was a self-tape, one of my girlfriends could come over too.
Right,
So it's so nice because you can just be in your own environment and know you're in control of the situation. Whereas sometimes when you go into auditions in person, which has a whole other energy and is fun and it's
yeah,
great, but you're not in control of the space.
right. No, yeah, that completely makes sense. When you're casting, how do you go about finding people for a role? Are you sitting and bringing just whoever in for auditions, or do you have something that you're actually looking for the role?
Hmm. For initially, I'll break down the films while I read them. I'll write
Right,
out my description of who these people are, what they serve in the film, and what my vision is for them. I'll connect with my boss and with my counterparts. I'll see if they have any special visions for the film.
right.
Sometimes I'll make a mood board of local actors that I think are amazing that could really fit in well. Sometimes we'll just offer it to them. If I
Yeah,
know this actor can do it great and our team knows that they can do it great and they think it's the right vision and it's not, we'll sometimes just offer it. But then usually what I'll do is I'll break it down. I'll post it onto one of the casting websites. I'll see what submissions come in. You'll see people you'll never have thought of, or
right,
you'll
right.
open it up to other regions. I'll do my first run through self tapes because you know really quickly who you're really interested in and you can see
Right.
more people that way. And then if you need it, I'll do callbacks or chemistry tests in person.
Yeah, yeah, probably much quicker running through the self tapes.
It's quicker, but you also get to see more people. So your reach
Yeah,
of talent is a lot bigger. And then when you're taking time out of their day and out of your day to meet in person, everyone knows you're really serious about the people you're bringing in.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty interesting. That's castings. It's I think I said earlier, it's underappreciated and it's a lot more involved in what you really think about. When you just think of a casting director, it doesn't seem like it would be as involved, but there's a lot that you're doing ahead of time before you even talk to the people.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. Do you have any, or have you done any voiceover work?
I have.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's something I want to do more of. I haven't done a lot of it, but what I have done is my brother-in-law is an independent video game maker. And he does
Nice.
beautiful, artistic, immersive video games.
Yeah.
And so I've voiced a couple of those for him. And I had so much fun doing them.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, you've got this set up at the house. You could do that right there.
I think I should.
Yeah, you could.
I think you're onto something. I think I should start adding video games.
That's right. I'm gonna set you up. By the time we're done, you're a whole new career.
I feel like you're also going to be my American manager at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Our action going. You're getting me into video games.
It's a done deal. Yeah, you better. It used to be you would say your phone will be ringing off the hook, but there's no hooks anymore. But
that's true.
Keep your phone near you.
I will keep it on me, sir.
Well, Rebecca, this has just been a blast. I knew it would be. I was so excited to talk to you. And my daughter said, Dad, don't mess this up. This is one of the Christmas people. Don't mess this up.
I told you, she's our people. I love her already.
She's the one that we let her watch everything, and then she tells us which ones to actually watch. She watches them all, so then she can filter out any of them that maybe aren't as good. So she gives us all the good ones.
She's the critic.
She's the critic. Although, when you get right down to it, she loves like 98% of them. So she doesn't filter much.
Is she looking to get into film?
Oh, no. She just loves Christmas. And so that, it's the Christmas movie. So if she could start around Halloween, she would do that. But she controls herself till the day after Thanksgiving. But the tree is up. Day after Thanksgiving, tree's up. She starts watching.
I love her.
Yeah.
I love her.
She's the best. So Rebecca, is there anything else that we can keep an eye out for you in other than these 3 movies that are coming?
So there's these 3 movies coming out. Project that I love, that I got to help pitch, that I produced, that I cast. It's called The Wedding Planners. It ran in Canada last year. This week it's being released on Roku. And so that's something that I am not in, but that I got to make, that I'm very proud of.
That's awesome.
This week as well.
Yeah, and it looks really good. Like it looks like a fun show. I would watch that one.
Oh, well, I hope you do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Because I was reading some of the storylines for that one. And it just looks like a lot of fun.
Well, thank you. And I think your daughter would like it.
Oh yeah, and she's got Roku, so she will be watching it. I can tell you that. So Rebecca, before you go, where can we find you on social media?
So I'm on Instagram. It's just at Rebecca Lamarche, my name.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually keep in touch with a lot of people, a lot of actors. That's how I love connecting with people that way. So that's where you can find me.
Terrific. Yeah. Easy. That's easy. And I checked. You pop right up. You're pretty easy.
Oh, good. Yeah, good. See, you're an excellent manager.
See, I'm ready. Come on. I'm not sure that you want to come to West Virginia, but if you do, come on.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm so flattered to have been on this podcast, and I really enjoyed getting to know you through your podcast.
Well, thank you so much. That's so sweet. And you have to come back. Once you get through this batch of movies and you have another batch coming, you got to come back.
Okay, I'll hold you to that.
For sure. Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to hit pause. Well, that was just so much fun. Rebecca was the best and just so talented. I'm really impressed with her being able to do so many different things within the entertainment industry and still find the time to act. I mean, she would have a really good career without being an actress, but she's still, putting out shows and movies. It's just really impressive. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was just a great time, a good conversation. I just really enjoyed her, and she has to come back. Thank you guys for tuning in, for listening. Appreciate that you keep coming back to us. Definitely don't take that for granted, and I hope that we're bringing you fun and interesting people week after week. So please do keep coming back. If you haven't yet, please go to our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod, and subscribe. We would appreciate that. And you can also check us out on our website, meistercon.com. So until next time, bye, everybody.